Hey there, and welcome. We're about to jump into the incredible story of theater. You know, it's so much more than just a stage and some actors. It's this living, breathing art form that's always been a mirror, showing us exactly who we are, our hopes, our fears, and our biggest questions. So let's get into it and see what the stage has to tell us.
I mean, just think about it for a second. What if one single art form could capture the entire timeline of how we think? Our beliefs, our anxieties, our breakthroughs? Well, that's exactly the power of drama. And that's the journey we're going on today. And we've got a fantastic guide. We're digging into a Master of Arts course on British and European drama, specifically from the Odisha State Open University. We're using their historical overview as our map to see how theater grew from these sacred rituals into the wild, radical experiments of the modern age.
All right, so let's start at the beginning. Act 1, Gods and Mortals. Way back when, drama wasn't really entertainment as we know it. No, it was serious business. It was all about the divine, about ritual, and about trying to figure out our place in a world that felt like it was run by these huge unseen powers.
This timeline really lays it all out, doesn't it? It all kicks off in ancient Greece, coming right out of religious festivals that ask these massive questions about fate and justice. Then you've got Aristotle, who comes along and basically writes the first ever how-to guide for drama with his Poetics. The Romans, they took that and just cranked up the spectacle. And then, look at that huge gap. Drama pretty much disappears for centuries, only to be reborn inside the Christian church with a totally new purpose, to teach.
And this, right here, is where things get really fascinating. It's all about the purpose of the play. The ancient Greeks, they used the stage to wrestle with these huge, unanswerable questions. But when you get to the medieval morality plays, it's the total opposite. They weren't there to ask questions. They were there to give you the answers, plain and simple. It's this incredible switch from let's wonder together to here's what you need to believe.
Okay, on to Act 2. This is where the whole game changes. The spotlight, which has been pointing up at the heavens for centuries, suddenly swivels down and shines right on us, on the messy, complicated, and brilliant world of human beings.
So, yeah, for more than 1,000 years, drama was all about humanity versus the gods, or humanity versus some divine moral rulebook. The whole thing was on this vertical axis, always looking up.
But then, boom, the Renaissance hits. It's this explosion of new ideas, this new belief in what humans could achieve. And just like that, the focus becomes horizontal. The real drama, the real story, was now found inside people, in their minds, their ambitions, their jealousies.
And wow, did that lead to a golden age in England? You've got Shakespeare giving us the soliloquy, which is like a secret window right into a character's brain. You've got Marlowe with his heroes who want it all, like Dr. Faustus. And it was all powered by the incredible rhythm of blank verse, spoken on stages like the Globe, where your imagination had to do half the work.
Now, after all that poetry about kings and tragic heroes, the next big change was a lot closer to home. Imagine the grand stage of Shakespeare shrinking down, transforming from a palace or a battlefield into an ordinary living room.
And that brings us to realism. You see, as a powerful new middle class emerged, playwrights like Henrik Ibsen started to think, hey, wait a minute, their lives, their problems, their secrets, that's drama too. So plays like A Doll's House put the quiet struggles of a regular family front and center, and honestly, theater was never the same again.
Which brings us to our final act, and my personal favorite, shattering the rules. If the Renaissance put people at the center, the 20th century took that human-centered world and just broke it. It was reflecting a century of chaos, anxiety, and ideas that turned everything upside down.
I mean, just look at this comparison. It says everything. Poetic language? Nope. Now it's fragmented. Sometimes there's no language at all. A nice, neat story? Forget it. Now it's cyclical. It's confusing. And the whole point of it all? It's not just to entertain anymore. It's to shock you, to make you question everything, and to maybe even change the world.
So one of the masterminds behind this was Bertolt Brecht and his epic theater. Brecht basically saw audiences getting swept away by the emotions of a play and said, no, that's a trap. He didn't want you to feel, he wanted you to think. He wanted to snap you out of the story so you could actually analyze the social problems on display.
So how'd he do it? With his famous alienation effect. It's brilliant, really. Actors would talk right to the audience. You'd see the stage lights. They'd hold up signs announcing the next scene.
He was doing everything he could to constantly remind you, hey, this isn't real. This is a play. Now think about why we're showing you this. It was a complete reversal from getting lost in the story to becoming a critical detective.
But what if the problem wasn't just society? What if the problem was that life itself just felt meaningless? That's the question that sparked the theater of the absurd. I mean, after 2 devastating world wars, playwrights like Samuel Beckett looked around and just saw chaos. So their plays reflected that feeling. If life makes no sense, why should a play?
And the perfect example, of course, is Waiting for Godot. It's a play where, famously, nothing happens. 2 guys wait for someone who never comes. Their conversation goes in circles. The whole situation is completely hopeless. And that's the genius of it. It doesn't tell you about feeling lost in a meaningless universe. It makes you feel it. It stages that very human anxiety of waiting for answers that may never arrive.
So, let's pull back for the final curtain. From the sacred rituals in Greece to the barren, waiting world of Beckett, what's the big takeaway? We've seen an art form that is always in conversation with its time.
This line from our source material just nails it. Drama is that potent mirror. Whether it's showing us our faith, our own complex minds, or our deepest anxieties about the universe, it's always been there to show us a reflection of who we are.
And that just leaves us with one last thought. As our own world keeps changing so fast, with new tech, new conflicts, new ideas, what's the stage going to look like next? What stories will it tell, and how will it tell them? Well, that's the next act, and it's being written right now. Thanks so much for coming on this journey with us today.